What are your New Year's resolutions for athletes 2020 going into 2025?
Yo, listen, man. Shout out. Listen,
he put the glasses back on.
A lot of cats out there, man, y'all doing y'all thing on the field, and y'all getting to that money, to that bag. Protect that bag. There's a lot of people that want it. All right? Yeah, my resolution is for all my young brothers out there, stop getting caught up.
Preach to it.
He said it, but he said, I went through that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that.
Yeah.
I've been trapped up. Y'all don't get trapped up.
Shady, for those that are more unaware, maybe the Chase Daniel of the world, what is caught up exactly?
Listen, man. When you
Usher sang about it. I don't know if he meant I'm so caught up. Like, what do you mean?
Yo, listen. One of my favorite rappers said this. He said, you don't get that late text.
Yeah.
That I think I'm late text.
Yeah.
So wrap it up, fellas. Wrap it up. As we wrap up 2024, we wrap up, you know what?
They about to send you to
You don't want that late text.
They started playing the music.
Hey, simple. My 2024 resolution, athletes. Can we stop doing podcasts when we're losing? You know what I mean? Like, for me, your boy had to stop doing desserts because I was getting out of shape, right? At the point in which something bad is happening, stop doing the extra stuff. So at the point in which you're losing, just stop doing the podcast. When you're winning, it's cool, Chase. When you're winning, it's cool, Jay. When you're winning, it's cool, family at home. But when you stop winning, put a cease and desist on your podcast, please.
Look, mine's simple. I'm 38 years old. I remember when Twitter got started and everyone wanted to put their business out in the world. And I couldn't stand, and I still can't stand today, when guys put all their workout videos and pictures online. Like, I'm sorry, like, move in silence like lasagna, is that what it is? You know what I mean? Like you don't gotta post it.
We're all wearing bars right now.
Yeah, you don't gotta post it. Just work hard. Like I don't care. I don't want to see it. Maybe other people do. Just stop doing it.
I feel it.
Yeah, I had tweeting and social media on there too, man. Just quit it. But my thing is everything stays in the locker room. We're talking about your teammates out in public and all that type. Everything stays in the locker room, man. Last time I checked, if you got a problem with your teammate, you're in the locker room with him, or you got his number. Talk to him. Quit creating questions for your teammates, man. That's what I want to see.
Right there.
Get back to being a gangster, and everything stays in the locker room.
It's not a competition, man. I think I got the best advice. I'm saying the lies, fellas.
And money.
And money.
2024 has been a good year for so many people, hopefully for you as well. For Brock Purdy, it's the last pick in the NFL draft. About $40 to $50 to $60 million lie in the balance for Brock Purdy with the San Francisco 49ers, depending on how they view him. They haven't paid him yet. Before they write that big check, should the Niners have second thoughts on Brock Purdy?
You like those glasses,
Do you mind?
No,
Go ahead.
Man, can you see?
Yes. I think they should be worried. I don't think they should, they should pay him, though.
Yeah.
But I think before this year, I was thinking a bigger number. Now this year, it's like more realistic. You know why? Because we didn't have an all-pro running back this year, right? Christian McCaffrey. We didn't have our all-pro wide receiver and Brandon Ayuk out there, right? Trey Williams, another all-pro left tackle. He's getting older. He went out there. So as the team gets a little older, which it is, team's a little banged up, which it is, going forward, how does the team look? Because if I need my expensive quarterback to carry this team, can he do it? Or my defense that was good for so long with a lot of money on that side where now the defensive guys are not there, can my expensive quarterback do that? See, when you pay these quarterbacks, this is the problem with the quarterback market now because you're just paying everybody. But when you're paying these quarterbacks, you're paying them to elevate the offense, elevate the team, elevate the defense. When superstars are not there, when this player's not there. And now you're seeing the Niners what they look like without them superstars. So, I do like Brock Purdy, right? But let's put everything into perspective. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's an elite quarterback. If you want to pay him that top dollar money, you're not going to get top dollar results. I think what makes Brock Purdy really, really good is having a really good team around him, right? High expensive players on offense and defense. Give him a nice little salary, nice little money, and let you win. But if you don't give him all the money in the pot, I don't see how the Niners go back to the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl.
You got to have second thoughts. You got to have second thoughts. I think, Jay.
I didn't expect that coming from you.
Well, I'm just keeping it thorough.
No,
keeping it.
him?
Yeah. Oh, bang, bang.
He been bang, bang. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You know, Peyton's a Purdy and all that. I did not expect this answer.
Picture in the back of his head. Right.
I didn't expect this to happen.
Look, you have to have second thoughts. You should still do it, but like any big decision you're about to make in life that's going to cost you a lot financially, maybe cost you a lot from a commitment perspective. Again, I've never walked down the aisle. The two gentlemen to my left, you all have. You got to have second thoughts. Not to say you ain't going to do it, but cold feet is cold feet for a reason. If you're about to commit to Brock, what happened, Tufa?
I'm looking at you talk, man.
If you are about to commit $40, $50, $60 million to Brock Purdy, I don't care to argue over the number. If you're about to commit 2 to 4 years of your future to Brock Purdy, I don't care to argue over the time. If you're about to commit a long amount of time or money to Brock Purdy, you got to think twice about it. Especially in a world where Lamar Jackson's just walking around the NFL. And Josh Allen's walking around the NFL. Joe Burrow's walking around the NFL. Haven't mentioned Patrick Mahomes yet. Jaden Daniels walking around the NFL. In worlds where you got quarterbacks like that, Jaden Daniels, he's young, so he's ascending. Only reason I mentioned him up. In worlds where you have individuals like that just walking around the NFL, you have to consider and have second thoughts about paying Brock Purdy because there's a whole bunch of dogs out there. Now, let's not undermine the fact that Brock Purdy not only took you to a Super Bowl, he had you winning the Super Bowl in overtime.
What was that, though? When he had all the adventures with him, it was all love.
Yep.
But why we might need Iron Man to say the day by himself. Because it happens like that.
True.
You get what I mean?
And Brock Purdy is not one of those guys.
But you want to get paid like it, though.
See? And that's the tension.
I don't think you should have second thoughts at all. I think that this season has not gone the way he's wanted to go. But when I think of second thoughts, I think of what's behind door number 2. And quite honestly, I don't know if you can't get any of those guys you mentioned. Like, he's never going to be a Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Like, those are the 4 that really just elevate their team no matter what the situation is. And that list stops it there. And quite honestly, there's a drastic drop-off, in my opinion, from guys. I mean, Jared Goff would be in that next, Justin Herbert. I think Brock Purdy's in the top 10 to 12 quarterbacks
Chase,
in the league.
Hurts. This take hurts.
You want me to throw Hurts in there? I'm not going to do it. Because this is not a Jalen Hurts conversation. But when I look at that, I'm like, who's going to be the next best guy? And it's unfortunate for you guys because I know how you feel about paying That's just the market and what it is. Like, I think, and I will put a number on it, I think above 60 is outrageous. I think it's between 50 and 60. And you look at that, and it's probably going to be a 3 or 4 year deal, right? Maybe a 5-year deal. But when that deal is in the middle of his new deal, it's going to look like a bargain. There's going to be quarterbacks making $70 million a year. I like Brock Purdy. I like Brock Purdy specifically in this Kyle Shanahan offense. As long as Kyle Shanahan's the coach, they will pay him, and they won't have second thoughts because Kyle Shanahan loves himself some Brock Purdy.
The answer's no. But I truly believe that Brock Purdy and Baker Mayfield's the same dude. I do. They are the same dude.
I'm not going to get distracted.
Make plays with their legs every now and then.
I like what he's talking about.
James.
Can throw the football, right? Baker Mayfield can throw the football. 3 years, $100 million guaranteed.
$100 million guaranteed?
Yeah.
Gonna get
3 years,
way more
3
than
years,
that,
$100 million
James.
guaranteed.
That's disrespectful.
What he showed us this year.
That's disrespectful.
What he showed us this year is that he took a step back, number one. Another thing he showed us this year is if everything ain't perfect, I cannot win games for you. They have 6 wins. The Cowboys have more wins than them. With Cooper Rush. You understand what I'm saying? So he has shown I cannot cover up the bad defensive play. I cannot cover up not having all my weapons out there. He showed you that. So he's showing you and telling you that I need weapons around me. So if you pay me all this money and we're not able to get weapons around me, this is what the season's going to look like. And it might be 2 or 3 more wins. But when the games were on the line this year, Brock Purdy threw picks. Last year, he was finding ways to win games. But this year, he got to press a little bit because he doesn't have them weapons. The defense is not playing well. And he showed you that he cannot overcome that. Is that bad? No, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that cannot overcome that. But what I'm saying is we can't keep rewarding these quarterbacks with $60 million and you can't overcome that. No, we got to give you this money, and then we got to put these dudes around you to have some success to get you back to the Super Bowl.
Bro, he's better than Trevor Lawrence and Tua.
I didn't say their names.
But I am. This is about second thought. He's going to make more than Trevor Lawrence at $55 million a year. Let me take these off. That's the thought. Like, I feel like as an organization, you're always going to have second thoughts. I agree with that. Like even when they're paying Dak Prescott, like, man, $60 million, it's a lot of money for a team. But when you see the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL, Trevor Lawrence making 55, we're talking about 3-year, $100 million. That's disrespectful.
So what? See, you're right though. But my thing is, why keep doing the same thing, expecting different results? Yeah. So now, okay, so
I don't expect different results because he's taken them to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he did that with
a great team.
Right.
But he was without
his
first year.
Whatever it is. See, y'all taught me this though. Y'all taught me the draft stuff don't matter. Once you get drafted, it don't matter no more. Right. Last pick or first pick, it's over with. Because that's how we look at Baker Mayfield. I thought that, wow, if you're number one pick, you should be. But y'all told me don't worry about that no more. So anyway, my point is, when he has all the pieces with him, he goes to this championship games. He goes to Super Bowl. Trent Williams, without him, he's 1-6, and he ain't getting no younger. Trent Williams. My thing with this is, and this is I guess to the owners, right? Because you want to correct every other position when it comes to the market. You pay Trevor Lawrence, who's not that good.
And look where his team is at.
But hold on, you pay Trevor Lawrence, he's not that good, right? And you see what he got you. They're not gonna get no better because it's really the quarterback, okay? You go to Tua. Right? I think Tua is a solid quarterback. Got the right weapons around him. Got the right coach. He went from being bad to being kind of good. Yeah. But where has that got you? My thing is, let's stop just paying these guys because of the position. And actually, if you earn this, you get this. Because every other position is like that.
Now, that's well said. Well, look, one thing you had no doubts about was Dan Campbell playing his starters yesterday. The Lions had a completely meaningless game again. The Lions game yesterday was meaningless because it all comes down to Week 18. Week 18 versus the Minnesota Vikings. If the Lions win, they're the 1 seed. If the Lions lose, they're the 5 seed. If the Vikings win, the Vikings are the 1 seed. If the Vikings lose, the Vikings are the 5 seed. So though yesterday's game was absolutely meaningless, in case you were unaware, Dan Campbell chose to play his starters the entirety of the game, even though it is a short week, because obviously they were playing on Monday and not the typical Sunday games. Shady, did you have an issue with Dan Campbell? Meaningless game. Put Goff at risk. Amon-Ra at risk. Jameer Gibbs at risk. They're already the most injured team in football. Did you have an issue with Dan Campbell playing his starter?
Nah. Nope, I loved it. This showing what type of coach he really is, though. And then some coaches can talk about it, get hype about it. He actually does it. He's taking that one-game approach. Look, I know we got a chance to get the number 1 seed next week, but we gonna go to the West Coast not just to go there, to win, right? They could have easily went on the West Coast, take this long trip, practice all week, and play the backups because the game didn't matter. But he's showing his teammates like, yo, we want to win everything we do. Hey, I don't care if it means something or don't mean something. We trying to win. And now we're going to see the Minnesota Vikings, right? And the same team you just watch play a meaningful game that didn't mean nothing. Now we're going to play a game that means everything with the same attitude. So I love stuff like that because, people always talk about, getting the bye, getting the first seed. Yeah. And every team that I played with, like the Chiefs, we had the number 1 seed, and we didn't love it, right? Because we wasn't all banged up. But when you take a week off, you don't do nothing. Because you practicing, but practice is not the same as actually the real game. A lot of situations. Yeah. And we did it, but we didn't really love it, right? And then our first game, we were behind. We had to slowly get things back turned up again because you turn everything off. I went to other teams where, like the Bucs, we weren't the number 1 seed, and we had to earn everything on the road, and we loved it. So I guess every philosophy is different for everybody else. But I just love seeing that we control our own destiny, and we're still playing even when we don't need to.
I hated it, but I understood it. Completely hated it. Because why in the world would you risk playing your starters and them getting hurt in a game that is meaningless? Now, it worked out for you. Nobody got significantly or substantially hurt, but it made no sense. The reason I understand it, though, I think Dan Campbell's probably a lot like you. He is definitely, at least I'm a lot like him. How you do anything is how you do everything. And that's Dan Campbell. I respond to the CEO of a company the same way I respond to somebody I haven't seen in 15 years from high school. If they text me, I'm texting them back equally as fast. Yeah. Shady and I know we have off-camera conversations. His homeboy called him like, hey, Acho, da-da-da-da-da. And Shady's like, look, when Acho gets stuck on something, it don't matter what the something is that Acho's stuck on, he gonna get stuck on it. How Acho does something is how he does anything. I think that's what Dan Campbell does. Dan Campbell's going to treat a meaningless game like a meaningful game. But, Chase, I hated it because Dan Campbell does not ever weigh the cost-benefit, bro. Maximal risk, minimal gain. He don't ever weigh the cost-benefit.
Like he'll read the room, huh?
Never. He don't ever weigh the cost-benefit.
He got the tobacco in his mouth. He just,
see you, Dan.
I love him. He's old school.
Himself, and that's why I like him. He's unapologetic himself. Didn't you say yesterday, though, you want to take one to play in a meaningless game?
Got a record.
Oh, I said that.
No,
that was me that said that.
So, look, I don't think any of these games are pointless to the Detroit Lions. Like, I think they go on the road and they wanted to make a statement. There's this thing in football, guys, that we call momentum, and you just keep it rolling offensively. They are rolling at a rate we haven't seen in a really long time. So look, I get it. Dan Campbell gets it. He even said in the post-game press conference, he's like, I'm just glad no one got hurt.
Yeah.
Because they cannot afford anyone else, especially if they were going to get – my biggest thing was, like, don't get Jahmyr Gibbs hurt. So I didn't mind it at all. This is so few and far between. Everyone wants to rest their guys in meaningless games. Like, that's what everyone wants to do. Dan Campbell was like, man, this is the mentality of this Detroit Lions team. We are going to go in there, we're going to kick your ass, and we're going to take names, and we're going to continue the momentum to next week. So I think that's probably why.
Let me question for you, James, and really question for everybody. Shay to you as well, and Chase to you as well. Okay, y'all had no issue with it. Would y'all have had an issue if he would have rested his guys? Or y'all just don't care either way?
I think whatever decision he makes, it's all in one way or the other. Like, I wouldn't care because it was meaningless. So if he rests his starters, I don't care. And just be clear with it and stick the path. But that's not who he is. Fourth down, gambler, biting kneecaps. Like, he wants to play his guys. And quite honestly, the guys probably want to play.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would have questioned him resting his dudes because the game means nothing. But I absolutely love it because it's the mindset of the football team. It's the mindset of your head coach. Since your head coach first interview, he said he biting kneecaps, he biting ankles and all that. None of that has ever changed. And now that's the mindset of the football team. And number two, this team ended it for us last year. You know what I'm saying? In the same building.
Yes.
So even though y'all ain't going to the playoffs and we know we ain't going to see y'all in the playoffs, we going to get that back. And that's why when Amra scored, he said, we spanking them boys. It meant something to him. And he came in there with the same game plan. 4th and 5, we going for it. We lost the game last year here going for it. He had the same mindset. And as players, when you go out there and your coach is built that way and you have that certain mindset, I absolutely loved it. And the Detroit Lions going into the playoff, this is going to mean something going into the Minnesota Vikings game the last week.
But don't y'all think, because this is what I've realized about Dan Campbell, he is too emotional of a head coach. Oftentimes, maybe it was Andy Reid who said, like, don't ever let him see you high, don't ever let him see you too low, whatever the case may be on the football field. Dan Campbell makes decisions based on emotions. James, you know firsthand. Week 14 versus the Packers, 4th and 1. On his own 31, he went for it. They didn't get it. Ensuing possessions, Packers take the lead. That wasn't a rational decision. It wasn't a reasonable decision. It wasn't a logical decision. It was an emotional decision. James just said it brilliantly. He said it perfectly. Shady cosign. Dan Campbell wanted to get that lick back.
No doubt.
Niners eliminated them from the playoffs, ended their season last year. That was the same locker room and podium where he said, fellas, we might never get a chance to come back here again. Like, you know, the team's going to be different. He wanted to get that lick back. That was an emotional decision. That was not a legitimate, rational decision. When somebody spouts off on Twitter, Shady, you're an idiot, Acho, you suck. If you ever text back like, well, you broke it, that's an emotional decision. That's not a rational decision. So, 2-5, don't you think sometimes Dan Campbell, he too often leads with emotions, and that will cost him because it's cost him games?
Nah, I mean, nothing's 100%, right? Nobody's perfect. I will say this, though, because I come from an area where, like, I don't forget. I know sometimes you guys, you just guys forget. Right? Sam Darnold is the new Tom Brady. I get it. My thing is, look where the Detroit Lions are at right now. You know where they come from, though? Huh? You talk about starting in the mud and all that in the trenches. Do you know how bad they've been for years? I couldn't wait to play the Lions. Some of my best games.
Your best game ever was against Detroit.
Yo, and that's not even my division. So the way that you're saying that he's emotional when he does this or he's this and that third, well, it's got them fighting for the number 1 seed.
No doubt.
It got them last year to the NFC Championship game. So I will take that, right? I think a lot of Detroit fans over the years will take a coach that, hey, he might go for too much on 4th downs because right now we are fighting for the number 1 seed. So Dan Campbell, keep being emotional because it's working.
I think it breeds confidence in his players, though, too. Like, do I think some of it's reckless? Like the time he decided to go for it rather than kick a game-winning field goal just to get closer and run out the time. Like, that's just who he is. You have to take the good with the bad. There's been way more good. Yes, you can easily say in the NFC Championship game there's a few decisions that he probably wants back. Kick the field goal, so forth and so on. But this is who this is, and this is what the culture is in Detroit. The players know they have 4 downs to get a first down, not 3.
What about the fact of this? Uniquely on the show, we can have this conversation. Most other shows can't. Obviously, we all played up here. The fact that Dan Campbell just gave the Minnesota Vikings a physical advantage. In football, there's a mental advantage, there's a schematic advantage, there's a physical advantage. You're already playing on a short week. But you could have taken the advantage by not making Jahmyr Gibbs probably run maybe a mile and take hits on the football field. Goff took some hits yesterday. Laporta obviously took some hits yesterday. Amon-Ra got active. He took some hits yesterday. What about the fact that Dan Campbell forfeited the physical advantage that he was going to have? We've talked about it. When you go on a short week, now you got to get that 2-hour massage usually the day after the game. You know, you're going to get that hour massage the day before the game.
And it's on the West Coast.
And you had to go all the way to the West Coast. Even if the guys traveled but not played, James Jones, I'll let you take this before we go to break.
Yeah.
What about the fact that he just sacrificed an advantage that he had and gave it back to the Vikings?
I truly believe every time you take the field, you cannot worry about getting injured. As a coach, you cannot worry about getting injured. You're not taking the field because at practice you could get injured. You could get injured at 9-on-7, Acho. And for the world out there that don't know what 9-on-7 is, that's no receivers. That's Acho and the linebackers and the D linemen and the running backs. Bow, bow, in practice. For the physicality of the football game. You could sprain an ankle, you could get hurt in that. You know what I mean? So you can't take the football in. I truly believe this is going to help them. Mindset-wise, I think defensively, we needed to go out there and bang around, right? We banged up. We need to get them young dudes some reps and all that type of stuff because defensively is going to be our Achilles heel going in there, right? And I felt like them getting 2 takeaways, the way they played against the Niners, I loved everything about it. So Dan Campbell knows what he's trying to accomplish. Continue to keep your team physical and go out there and try to compete.
I get what you're saying. And the thing about West Coast trips, Monday Night Football, it's the worst trip you can take in the NFL because you get home Tuesday morning at like 4 a.m.
Oh, y'all ain't like it?
4 a.m. Monday Night Football. You're flying across country at night. They probably just got
You got today off. You're going to have tomorrow off.
Sleeping, tomorrow off.
Y'all been, it's the NFL. It's Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing better than that.
Sunday Night Football, too.
Crazy, man.
Well, Shane, we got to talk about your squad because the Eagles. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content. What up, YouTube family? Welcome to the facility. Thanks for watching, and you better be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to get more highlights from the show and all of our exclusive content.